Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Tryon, and welcome to the live launch of the 2023 Homemade Virtual Quilting Event. This is a quilting retreat like we've never done before. It's all about the curves. And I know many of you tuning in tonight have joined us in years past for our annual quilting retreat. And we painstakingly choose basically the quilt of our dreams for that year, and try to bring it to life and bring it to you. And whether you're a very new quilter or you've been with us for a few years and you've made hundreds of quilts, there's always something to learn. It's always fun to join into the homemade community and to be working alongside each other as we create this year's quilt, which is the Hexy Snowballs quilt. I love this quilt. Take a look. The quilts are done. We've got it in lots of different colorways, and I can't wait to show you them all tonight and for you to pick which one is your favorite. Honestly, they're all so gorgeous. I knew when I first saw this pattern, this was the one we had to do this year. And it was designed by Ashlee Doyle from Crinkly Quilts, and she is joining us live tonight from Montana. Hi, Ashlee.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Hi, good. Thank you so much for being here. And most of all, thank you for this delicious quilt pattern. We are so excited that this is the pattern of the year for us. We choose one every year, and really, like, look at, I mean, it's just so gorgeous.
Thank you.
I'm sure at this point of the process, you know, when this was just first a brainchild for you, that must have been a long time ago. But for us, we're just getting going with it.
Yeah, I made my first one back in January, and then the pattern launched in, I think it was April of this past year. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's a great pattern.
It's a great pattern. What's the response been?
It's, you know, I've had a lot of people love this pattern. It's probably my best-selling pattern that I have. I love that it's just this beautiful mix of traditional and modern. It's you know, like you have so many samples, and it just works with any color palette, really. Yeah, I did a sew along for it over the summer, and I mean, people made the most beautiful, mind-blowing quilts. Like they thought out of the box, and it's always amazing to see what people do with your pattern. I mean, that's my favorite part, is seeing what other people do with it, and they take it and then they put their spin on it.
Totally. Well, we tried to do the pattern justice and choose a bunch of different colorways. And before we get to them, I just want to say hi to everyone who's tuning in. And please tell us where you are watching from tonight. We love knowing where you are in the world. We always get people from all over joining the quilting event. And many people have already registered, Ashlee, and have been waiting till tonight to see the finished quilts in action. We kind of posted about it and gave people a little chance. Like, if you wanted to sign up early, you could, but registration is now open, and we've got a bunch of different colorways. Look at even the Christmas, we called this one the poinsettia one.
I love it.
Yeah, I kind of thought, oh, this looks like one of our favorite fabrics here is the ombre flurries, and we thought we would do a version that looks like poinsettias. With this beautiful red and the gold stars. Isn't it just so fabulous? But let's go through.
Beautiful. I want one of those now.
I know. It's so nice. It's so, so nice. We're going to show you just on your screen the different colorways that you can choose from. The summer colorway, this is the Wild Cottage collection from Figo Fabrics. And so if you're wanting to register and you're wanting to do the summer pattern, this is, yes, that's it, all done, and I'm spreading it out here right in front of me. Now this is the summer colorway, and I love the subtle, soft, it really does feel cottagey. It's called Wild Cottage. This collection is from Figo, and you've got such a nice mix of gingham and florals and little low volume prints in these subdued colors. This is really, really a favorite. In fact, this is one of the most popular ones in the pre-sale, was the summer colorway. Isn't it just so fabulous there? There's me with it. Loving the summer one. What else have we got on the graphics? I think we've got spring. Now, I think this one is my favorite, mostly because it's not solids, but it does kind of read like a solid. Here we're using the Art Gallery Fabrics seedling, is it seedling or seeds, collection. And it's so gorgeous. Look at it here in these colors. This one's already been long armed. We'll get into that in a few minutes too. Look at the beautiful backing, that gingham check. And you're right, Ashlee, when you see all of these in these different colorways, they all work. They really all work.
I love them.
Yeah, let's see what's next. So this one was spring. So if you're wanting to register for spring, that's what this one looks like in the spring collection. Let's go through another one. I think we've got winter. And the winter version is very cool. This is Ruby Star collection from Moda. And it's gorgeous. And you know what? Like, it's not super Christmassy, but it's got those cool tones. A couple of the little patterns have tiny little skiers on them. They're in that baby blue and in that dark blue. We've got some sort of like Christmas hens, but nothing so obvious that it's Christmas related. But this is our winter one, and those little skiers in the are just my favorite. So I love that. I love the winter version too. So this is the winter version if you're wanting to choose. And then last but not least on the main kits is the fall. And this again is a collection from Figo Fabrics. And that is the fall quilt. And it just pops. Those purples and corals and bright pinks. This is it right here. We've got some, this one also has already been long armed, and this one is just gorgeous too. We have a couple add-on bonus kits if you wanted to do them. We showed you the poinsettia Christmas one. There's a multicolored Christmas one and a Halloween one that you could choose. Those ones we're in the midst of making because we're using those as the filming quilt. And as you can see, we've already made a lot of versions of this. So if you're into the Christmas one, the Halloween one, or this gorgeous poinsettia one, you could choose that either as your main or as an add-on kit. I know lots of people are making more than one. Ashlee, so many people in the pre-sale, I gotta tell you, more than half of the people who signed up early are making more than one.
Well, they're beautiful. And those kits are just perfect.
Yeah, it really is. Job. And it's such a beautiful quilt. I love this size of quilt. 60 by 60 is the finished size, if I'm remembering right. And
I think it's close to that.
Yeah.
It's
pretty
close to that.
Yep. And so this is the perfect quilt to have on your couch. And it doesn't take so long to make. It's a really, decent size in terms of putting it together. And what's cool about this year is, lots of people have joined us in the past, and we're going to be learning some new techniques this year. Look at this, curves. So Ashlee, tell me a little bit about, what people might not recognize from looking at this far away is, what it takes to put this together. What are we actually looking at here?
So each unit is actually just an equilateral triangle. Mm-hmm. So once you sew all the four pieces together, you have what is an equilateral triangle. And then you assemble those into half hexagons. And then those half hexagons just go together in rows. And that's all the quilt is made out of. So it really does look more complicated than it actually is.
Absolutely. So if I'm breaking it down for you guys, this right here, like right here, is actually a row. And this right here is a row. And you assemble this, we're going to talk about doing curves, but in your kit, we're giving you everything you need to make this quilt. So you're getting all of that fabric, the backing fabric, the batting, the thread. We're giving you spools of Deco Bob to piece with this time around. We have a custom-made stiletto because sewing the curves can be a little, it's not tricky. In fact, you really do get the hang of it. But a lot of people I know are going to be a little intimidated by the sewing the curves, but we're leaning into our curves this quilting retreat. We're going for it. Last year we did a lot of half square triangles, not one half square triangle in this quilt. So for those of you who mentioned about the half square triangles, we listened. But Ashlee, tell me about these rulers, the templates that people will be getting in their kit. How are they going to help?
Absolutely. So you get the 3 templates that cut your fabric. So you have the, let me grab mine. This one right here, which is obviously that curve shape.
Yep.
I'll hold up one of my quilts. So it is this curve shape right here.
Yep.
Curve shape. And then you have the BC template, which is the side piece. So if you look at a triangle right here, these are just mirror images of each other. So when you cut your fabric, you fold your fabric in half, wrong sides together or right sides together, whichever you prefer. I prefer wrong sides together. And then you cut your fabric, and then what you'll have is one B piece and one C piece. And those will go together on your triangle to make that unit. And then finally you get this like itty bitty little template D.
Yep.
And template D is these little center hexagons. Yep. These are just 6 triangles together to make a little itty bitty hexagon.
Yeah.
Now you'll also get the trimming template, which is the most important template in the whole shebang.
1000%. If I didn't have this, mine would have, especially at the beginning, mine were sort of like a little all over the place to start. But when I trimmed them up, I was like, oh, no, hey, this is looking pretty good.
They come together nice and neat. My first quilt that I made when I was testing this pattern out, I did not have this. And so that is why I now have it. I actually designed it. So it has this line right at the top, and that is where you align the D seam. And then these 2 triangle notches right there at the bottom is where you're going to get your A piece, which is that petal shape.
Right.
And you're going to try and fit it right on those notches. And if it's not perfect, it's okay, because actually those B and C pieces are on the bias. So you got a little bit of stretchy room when you're piecing your rows together to get that A piece to match up with the A piece on the other hexagon, like right here where they match up.
And because we do this as a video series and then follow it up with a live question and answer every week, we're going to show you exactly how to cut this out step by step by step, right from how to fold your fabric to, make the fewest amount of cuts possible, layer it up so you're making quick work out of using the templates. In fact, I had a few colors stacked up at once to cut these out. Is that what you did too, Ashlee?
Oh, yeah. I cut at least 4 layers at a time. Get yourself a fresh blade. Let's not waste our time.
Exactly. And so we've got lots of tips and tricks in the video. If you've never sewn a curve before, no problem. We're going to show you exactly how to ease into the curve and ways to hold your fabric so that it lines up perfectly at the end. And you're going to be so proud of yourself. I mean, don't get me wrong. By the end of this, you'll have sewn 100 curves. You're going to be good. But you're going to just elevate. You're going to be so far along in your journey by the time you've cut this and sewn the Hexy Snowballs quilt together. This is what sort of moves you forward as a quilter is taking on new challenges like this.
Yeah, totally. And these curves are nice and gentle. There's no pinning required, which I love. I'm not a huge fan of pinning 1,000 pins. But it's really nice because if your seams are a little either too scant or, a little bit over, the trimming template, that just makes sure everything is the right size. So it's a pretty forgiving pattern, and I think it comes together so nice.
Yeah, and you've got a little bit of room to move. So when you're sewing that curve and you're, like you say, you're a little over here, or you're a little, you coughed or sneezed and your line's a little, you're just going to trim it up. and your triangles are going to look amazing. You don't need to worry about it. This right here is a good example of what we're actually sewing together. And in the end, these rows, these 3 triangles come together, and then these 3 come together to make these strips, and then we build from there. But we're going to take you through all of that week by week by week. And so if you're new to the quilting process, or maybe you've made a quilt or 2 before and you're like, yeah, I'm going to tackle it. I love it. I'm loving the look of those. I want to call them Hexy Snowballs, but I also want to say, like, I'm always saying the daisies. They just come together so beautifully. And depending on what fabric you pick, it really highlights different parts of the design. Like sometimes it feels like way more scrappy, other times it feels way more solid. So we've got lots of fabrics to choose from this year. In years past, we've only had 1 or 2 colorways. People are always asking for more options. So this year we have lots of options, which I love. And so I hope you'll take advantage of that. And you can either throw in an extra kit and make your one quilt larger. So you can just get an extra quilt in the same pattern you already chose. And then that way you can make it big enough for a bed size. Or you can grab an extra kit and do a second one, which is what the majority of people who've already ordered are doing, which is really, really fun. If you're seeing these quilts for the first time tonight, and you'd already chosen just based on the fabric bundles that we had originally posted, but now you're looking at that winter one and going like, oh, I love those little skiers and I love that. And you want to change your mind, you can just reach out to us at info@homemade.ca, or you can go ahead and grab a second kit and we'll add it to your order. I have something, Ashlee, that's kind of exciting. This is the first time ever we're offering this as part of our quilting retreat. And typically what we do is we show people how to quilt the quilt also, which we will be doing in the series. And it'll be straight line quilting, so you can think about that. But for the first time ever, we are offering a send back long arm service. So because we've got the long arm here, we'll take your quilt and you've got 2 designs that you can choose from. We will put it on the rack here on the frame, and we will long arm your top. So all you have to do is piece it. And as an add-on, we will long arm your quilt for you. So we'll hold on to your batting. We will send you the backing so you can piece it together. And we'll hold on to your batting. That way you don't have to ship anything quite as big. And when you're ready, there's no time limit. When you're ready, we will send you a shipping label, and you can pack your quilt top back up in the box that we shipped your kit in. And you can put that label on. It's all included in the cost. And then we will long arm it, square it up, and ship it back to you ready for the binding. So I think we have it. Karin, do we have a graphic with that on? I'm just checking.
That's going to be amazing. I'm a big fan of long arm quilting, so I think that's an awesome idea.
So it's $199 for the add-on for the long arming. And that includes the shipping back and forth anywhere in North America. So for $199, we're going to long arm it and ship it back and forth. And that includes the batting, the thread. And we've got 2 design options for you to choose from. And we'll put a link in the comments on where you can find it if you're interested in the long arming. But we're doing this beautiful design here. I'm going to try to show you from above if you can see. It's super soft and delicate. It's called Rosemary, and it really allows the pattern to shine. It's nice and loose and delicate, modern without being stark. What do you like about the Rosemary? We got this idea from you, Ashlee. What do you like about this one?
I did it on my Hexy Snowball that I did for my sew along, which was also made with the fabric, the Winter Glow fabric from Ruby Star Society.
Uh-huh.
And I chose this design because to me it felt like kind of like pine needles, like on a
Yeah.
pine tree.
Yep.
And so I thought that it really went with the whole design, but specifically for the Hexy Snowballs quilt, I never pick a quilting design that is too repetitive because the design of the quilt is already repetitive enough.
Right.
So I always choose something that's more flowy and gives a great texture, which rosemary gives an absolutely beautiful texture, specifically when you wash it and it gets all crinkly and beautiful. So I personally love rosemary. I use it all the time on client quilts as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I love
great.
it too. The other one you can choose from is called the 6-petal flower. And we've got it on the fall version of the quilt here. And we did it in a bit of a darker thread. We'll use, it's your choice, but we'll in all likelihood use a thread that blends in. But maybe, Karin, can we zoom in a little bit here so you can see that 6-petal flower? And this design here, you can see it in that pink thread a little bit darker. Also very loose and whimsical, allows the pattern to stand out, but also echoes a little bit of those petals.
Mm-hmm. That one would look really good on that summer kit that you have.
Totally.
I think that would be really pretty on that one.
So when you're choosing, and we'll just throw the link up in the comments, you guys can see it. Again, it's $1.99 for the long arming, and you can choose either rosemary or the 6-petal flower. If none of these are speaking to you and you're desperate for a different design, you can email us at info@homemade.ca and we'll see what we can do. You'll have to provide us with the digital file. But just so you know, the $1.99 is a special price for long arming because you're in the quilting retreat, and it's for these quilt tops only. Because normally to ship it back and forth, you know, we're absorbing a lot of that cost because it's a bonus for being in the event. And we know a lot of people get stuck at I made the quilt top, but I can't quite finish the quilting. And since we're sitting with a nice, beautiful long arm machine right behind me here, we're happy to get that done for you. So that's new and a cool bonus this year. So we'll throw that link up and you guys can decide if you'd like to include long arming. And if you do, please, you can decide at any time. However, it will help with the shipping costs. If we know you're choosing long arming, then we'll hold on to your batting. We've got it here. We'll use it, and then we won't ship the gigantic roll of batting to you just to have you ship it back. Then we'll put everything in a bit of a smaller box. And that's, you know, wherever we can trim and help pass on savings. So if you know you want to use the long arming and you can decide that in the next couple weeks, the boxes for this are going out mid-October. So you've got a little bit of time. But if you can decide that sooner rather than later, if you're partway through the process and you have your batting and all of that there, and you still want to choose the long arming, that's fine. You'll just send your batting back with us with your quilt top. It's not the end of the world, but it would be great if you knew that now, then we can just save having to ship the batting back and forth. Ashlee, what else can you think of that we should be keeping in mind before we undertake so many curves?
It's not as bad as you may think. If you've never sewn curves before, it just takes a couple to get used to it, honestly. Mm-hmm. I think by the time you're like a third of the way through your first set of curves, like sewing the B piece onto your A piece, you'll kind of be like, I got this in the bag. This is easy.
Yeah.
So have patience and know that it just practice makes perfect.
And
my first quilt, like I said, not perfect. My second quilt better. My third quilt even better. My fourth quilt even better. So it just it takes time to get used to sewing those curves. And like I said, I'm thrilled you guys are excited about making my pattern. Like
totally. We're totally excited for it, for sure. I just also wanted to say, it was right top of mind. What was I going to say? Oh, it'll come back to me. What's that? Oh, okay, perfect. Karen's just going to throw up the graphic now for the long arming. There it is. So if you want to add that on, it includes the shipping back and forth, which is the huge one. It includes the design. So you're choosing between the rosemary or that 6-petal flower. We're going to square it up for you too. And we're going to use the batting that comes in your kit. So if you want to decide to add the long arming now, then we'll just hold on to your batting until it's time to throw your quilt on the frame. And you'll see when you're choosing the long arming, there's a drop down menu where you can choose either between the rosemary or the 6-petal flower. So yeah, I'm excited to see who decides to get their quilt long armed this year. Like always, everything you need is coming in the kit, including a bunch of bonus quilty goodies, including one surprise that I'm giving away, which is a custom silhouette. Or silhouette, what am I saying? Stiletto. I'm like, ugh. And this is just to help get those curves underneath if you're having to move anything around. This is coming in your kit. We always do a custom pin. You will see some of these gorgeous shapes on this year's enamel pin that's coming in your kit. And we've got a couple of other little things that you'll be surprised by. Of course, the pattern. Ashlee is custom making all of those templates, the rulers, to cut out the curves. That's all coming in your kit. And we'll be shipping those mid-October to get going in November. So you've got some time to register. And, we were speaking to someone who was in the shop recently from Mexico City, and her and a bunch of her girlfriends in Mexico City are going to do this, and we're shipping it all to them. Like always, we've got some people in England already. We've got people like all over the world. And so it's so fun when everybody gets their box and we open everything up and everybody sees the fabric for the first time. And then, of course, we're going to put you all in a private Facebook group where everybody in there is going to be making their version of the Hexy Snowballs quilt. So Ashlee will be sure to add you to that group so that you can see everybody's pics as they're coming alive. And week to week, the Hexy Snowballs quilt begin to come to life.
Man, it's always a fun process. When it comes together, you kind of get the full picture. I'm going to tell you, you're going to hit a point where you have all these triangles and you're like, this is trash. This is trash. And then you put it all together and you're like, it's not trash. It's amazing.
It really does. Piecing your quilt, you go on this roller coaster ride of what have I done? What am I doing? Oh my gosh, look what I've made.
Yeah, it really is. So
yeah, for sure.
I'll just see what everyone does.
Oh, for sure. I'll just take a second and show everybody the Halloween fabric. It's those bolts, Karen, if you see it there. It's so cute. You'll see this one a lot because this is the one I'm sewing in the actual videos. But this is Art Gallery Fabrics collection. It's so, so cute. And doesn't look super Halloweenish, so you can pretty much keep this out all year long. But I love having quilts in the house that are for specific times of year like that, like a kind of a fringe holiday where you pull it out just, at the end of October and it's on the couch or on the foot of the bed or whatever. And it just kind of gives you a nice feeling. Okay, well, I think this is it. If you have any questions for either Ashlee or I, please leave them in the comments. I'm going to dart out of here and I'll go back through the comments and be answering as many as I possibly can. And of course, if you have any questions for the homemade team, you can just email us at info@homemade.ca. Ashlee, where can we find you on Instagram or Facebook?
You can find me on Instagram at Crinkly Quilts, and I think I'm on Pinterest too. Instagram. Just go to Instagram.
We love Instagram for sure. And there's so many inspirational photos on the Crinkly Quilts Instagram. That's where I found this, and so thank you for all your hard work and your creativity and allowing us to dive into the Hexy Snowball pattern this year. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Maybe you'll come back again, like at the halfway point, and check in with us, and we can show you how we're doing. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks for tuning in tonight, everybody. We'll see you again soon.